And everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Mulder.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Wolf. And Councilor Beckman will be absent this evening.
Anybody from public forum? Not. Consent agenda, any additions or corrections? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Okay, Frank.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wolfman. Mulder.
Yes.
Okay, we have a building permit from the Affordable Housing Foundation. Rod, would you like to? Sure. Bring us up to speed.
Fast.
We're just on the 8th Street one. There,
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try and answer any questions you have.
Just, so they provided the elevations and the floor plans, and I gave those to you. So, just the notion there being it is a duplex, two-story duplex, where, yeah, you see both entrances then are right on the front. So one car garage with each one, and the two-story duplex, and I think everything's in order.
I've got a question. In one part, it's property owners affordable housing, and the other one is late LDA development.
Right, we're
Two
working-
different entities?
The development is, and the building will be done by LVA Development. And the AHF is part of the process, mostly for tax purposes, with tax discounts. We can do things that we can't with just LVA Development, so it's tied together. But
Okay.
LVA Development will do the building.
Okay. I just didn't
Yep.
know if things were,
And honestly, it's a bit above my pay grade, so I talked to my Jessica and Paul Kramer about that stuff, because they have a lot more experience on that side of it than I do.
okay.
Unfortunately, you got me here tonight.
I just seen that and I thought, well,
Yep, it's
Don't know,
mostly
don't
for
ask.
tax purposes.
Before we ask for a motion, is there something you can tell us about the rest of Outlet 20?
About the big project?
Big project, just so we-
Yeah, well, we brought the preliminary site plan, should have it in the packet.
Yep.
So that's the main reason I came up today. So when we originally talked with Scott and the engineer, he kind of was talking about putting a rain garden or water retention area in the northeast corner there, where you see the two big fourplexes, it would be in this corner. It kind of wastes some space for building. I mean, if you look at the site plan where the road comes in, if we did that, that building would have to be moved and probably eliminated. So what we've come up with, I think, solves several problems. You know, we're dealing with drainage in that area and a lot more possibility of rainwater moving faster, which can overwhelm the sewage system, as you know. If you live in a larger city that's expanding like crazy, the developers are required to put in huge ponds to hold the water back. And that's kind of what we're doing with this. So the idea is that with Levi working on the site, if we can get this approved, we'll have him grade it so that all the water kind of goes toward the road a little bit. And it's gonna follow the road on the curbs. And when it gets down into the cul-de-sac, we're gonna have a cutout. Possibly a tile has been discussed, but we really don't wanna dig because of the disturbance of the ground. But to put a swale in it, you can see the arrows going down through the road and then down to the northwest corner where we propose putting a nice, I don't know if it'll be a full water feature, we need to talk to the DNR and really consult with them a little more, but a water retention area there in the corner. And then the second part, we'd probably like to get the city involved a little more and consult with the state, because we want to run the water into the ditch there in the northwest corner and also construct a couple more water retention areas. And at this point, it would be pretty easy to do that with Levi working on the site, right? He can bring in some rock, we can grade it correctly, but we need the state's approval to do anything in that ditch, obviously, which can be a little more complicated than what I would probably be able to handle, so we'd want the city to help us out. So the idea is to have the first big water retention area that'll collect a lot of that rainwater and slowly let it drain out into that northwest portion of the ditch. Have a second water retention area in the ditch that drains into a third water retention area in the ditch. It's going to do two things. It's going to hold the water back, prevent it from overwhelming the sewer and the culverts that you're looking to install. and also will filter out any contamination from that groundwater that might happen. We're hoping with all the dirt we're bringing in that will prevent that anyway. So, and I think it'll actually make the site a lot more attractive for the residents, because we'll be planting, you know, cattails and stuff like that, make it a little more decorative.
I thought we didn't have a culvert running to the east
It's,
by
that,
Lake Street.
that's true, that when that water gets out there to the ditch right now, you know, the low spot around there right now basically is by that billboard, and water would sit there. And this is not proposing to have any additional storm sewer work done along the way. It has these rain gardens and the retention pond to store water on site and get water in the ground. And just knowing that this type of a setup, you know, they feel very confident. They've sized this for 10-year rains, okay? But anymore, of course, 10-year rain rolls around pretty frequently, it seems like, in bigger ones than that, and could potentially then have some water problems, have some standing water problems out there in the ditch.
And at this point in the construction and the development, we can correct a lot of that by just moving dirt and earth and getting this set up for the future.
So your plans are still to start this spring with part of
As
them?
soon as we can, we're in the process of securing financing, final financing.
You know,
Spring and summer.
Then from the city perspective, you know, they've submitted this basically as a preliminary site plan. It'd be the concept plan for what would happen there. And the engineering then would be based off of this. And we do still need to have engineering done, certainly for our water main extension that we gotta do, and there'd be some engineering required for the street.
Sounds like a plan.
It's a plan. Hope it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we,
Any other questions?
if we're gonna proceed forward with this, can we have this basically approved as a preliminary site plan?
We have that motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Moller,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, we also need a motion to, for the building permit for the, on 215, 217 8th Street.
Yeah.
So moved. Second,
Second.
roll call.
Okay, Boltman,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
There's a start.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, historic preservation.
Yes, Sue asked that I would text her, because obviously she was gonna forget, and I forgot to text her.
Those are separate projects. I'm not even sure yet, we need to price it. Well, that's what we're trying to do, a little more affordable, rentals and, 20 more. We'll be permanent residents, so it's groceries and not inside city.
Are they a little nervous over in Storm Lake with this bird flu that they said they got?
Yeah, they got hit pretty hard last time, so took a couple guys out, so.
What's her name?
Kelly? Kelly.
Yeah.
That would make you gun shy, wouldn't it?
Well,
That would make you awful gun shy.
Well, I said, she.
Well, and we'll wait for them to get here. Let's do ordinance 520. This is our third reading.
yes, yep.
Motion to approve ordinance 520.
So moved.
Second,
Well, second.
roll call.
Moller,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yep.
Frank.
No.
Do we have to do anything to finalize that?
Nope, done.
Okay, ordinance 521 is our burning regulations.
Yeah, so let's go through the proposed regulations for the dump. You know, we implemented the maintenance procedures and the operations out there, but the actual amount of items that would be subject to an ordinance is actually really only two things. We would put it in the ordinance about making it a violation if you leave your plastic bags out there, and then the other violation would be to establish the penalty. And we'd have a 3-tiered penalty, there where the first offense is $100, and the second offense is $250, and third offense is $500.
Everybody's okay with that?
Have we enforced that in the past?
No, but it's been as high as $1,000.
Okay, we're
You know, that-
just
But,
throw it
but the
out.
intention is to start enforcing.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay.
What about the plastic like container pots that like you buy your flowers in them? Like I see them out there all the time. Like
They
is
should
that
take them back out too.
They should take those out. If you know, they'll get the ones that are that kind of
Compost, like
fiberboard and
fiber, yeah.
compostable stuff, those are fine. But,
Right.
you know, if they're plastic at all, they're supposed to
We
be
need
taken
to
back out.
reword this a little bit so it's
plastic bags? I
biodegradable or
don't
whatever,
see
you know,
plastic
that's-
bags near like I see plastic containers. It's the potting pots. They fill the pot and all that they
Yeah.
brought them in
They
at the
do.
store.
No plastic bags or containers. But if we just do that,
There's flower pot.
We'll change it to that.
no plastic bags or containers?
Yep. Okay, we'll need a motion on 521.
I'll make that motion.
Roll call.
Okay, Frank,
Yes.
Boltman. Stankin.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
We have enough for,
If everybody would vote in favor of waiving, you got enough.
you want a motion to waive those 3 readings?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Moller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yep.
Frank.
Yes.
One more
One more
then
time.
to finally approve ordinance number 521.
We have it.
I'll make the motion.
Dave?
Your second.
Mike second. Roll call.
Okay, Boltman.
Yep.
Frank.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta put electric switch in. Jeff, you have information?
It was really proposed by the engineers to put this switch in. The location is where we put a sectional cabinet in, which is not a switch. The sectional cabinet that we have set in there now, we have not terminated at both ends of that yet, of the new cable. Bill had set up for this, and the reason we did it was for easier locating purposes on East City Circuit. Well, now with the proposal from the engineer of maybe putting this other, addition on to go to a VAPCO, they would like to see a switch there so that we can use it for future if we decide to do this, you know, upgrade on our substation and then add this circuit for VAPCO. So that would tie them two together there, which would be a loop feeding thing, but it also, it has a lot to do with, like Jared said the night he was here, was you have 300 amp capacity and you're driving it down to 180 capacity by the 4-aught wire coming to this sectional cabinet and then dropping it to 1-aught wire. By putting this cabinet in, that still keeps your capacity of your 300 amps at that switch. That's his biggest concern with wanting this switch. The switch is, as you've seen or read, it's not cheap. But he's looking at the future side of it. My thing is, before I go and terminate, do all this stuff with this cabinet and have it up and running, then it's downtime with this wire if we have to come back later and put this cabinet in.
So you
If
think
we
it's a
put this
good
cabinet in now, terminate the East City, have the East City up and running, I have the other 2 bays open to do this other circuit later on, and it's there.
You think it's a good idea?
I agree with the engineer.
'Cause sometimes engineers don't always have the,
I don't always agree with the engineer, but in this case, if we're seriously considering doing this other circuit, I think it's a good idea. It's your upfront cost now that you don't pay later, and we're not I'll tell you one thing I really don't like to do, is do things twice. And to me, that's doing it twice.
Where's this cabinet located?
Right by the viaduct on Larry Hauser's side, on the north side.
On the north side?
Yep, There's a brand new cabinet sitting there with wires up in it now.
But nothing's hooked up yet, is it?
No, but we
The
can,
wires are there.
we can take that cabinet out and reuse it somewhere else, which I thought about using at the Shaven edition when they do theirs. We'll reuse that cabinet somewhere else. But it's band time of re-terminating and hopefully you didn't cut the wires short and all that. We're getting rid of all that human error by just doing it this
That
way.
wire that's plowed in now can be reused and.
Yep.
So I think, you know, sooner or later, we're gonna have to do it. I mean, it's better to do it now, because the price is only gonna go up.
It's only gonna go up.
With these two bids here, one's 19,000, the other one's 21,000.
And the $19,000 bid is that switch that we have of that brand in our system now, which I was really hoping to stay with, for the fact that there's only one bay in that switch that we have fuses in. Those fuses will interchange to any, so we only keep one fuse on hand. This other one is a different brand, and there's other prices there. That's to retrofit it, so our fuses would fit in there. So,
They give you any kind of timeline at all?
what do we say, 4 months?
Yeah, what, 18 weeks?
Yeah, 18 weeks.
So you want the one from Irby?
Yeah, they're the ones that sell
Most did
SNC.
anyway. It's just, I don't think we got a lot of choice. Now's the time to do it.
And it's another, well, the 19,000 for the switch, and then there's another $1,400, which I didn't have bid in on the, Federal Pacific, but it's the fiberglass base that goes in the ground and then the switch sits on top of it. That's like $1,300 or $1,400. Irby has it in their bid, but I didn't get it on the other bid.
What would the council like to do?
Let's go with Jeff's recommendation. This is what I'm
I
thinking.
agree.
That's a motion, Whitey?
Yep.
Tim?
Second.
Second? Okay. Roll call.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Fulton.
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
you're gonna give us an update from the Historic Preservation?
just a brief one. I was kind of hoping Jeff Risby would be here tonight, but Scott mentioned that maybe somebody from the HPC should come and let you know what we are. And I don't know if there's 2 new council people here, or 1, I guess, but the Historic Preservation Commission is probably a branch of of our city government, and we are not affiliated with the museum, although some of us serve on both boards. To give you highlights of what we've been doing in the last year, we completed the kiosk signage for, I think the last ones we did was Ice House. Was it, I know the city, the
And City
municipal
Hall.
building here. We did research on those, put together the kiosks, put the signs up. And our new project, and you've probably heard about it around town, is we're digitizing all the Lakeview resorts. They are going to be available online in Sac County. It'll be through the Oliebold Public Library site. We'll have our own site on our webpage. I think the library wants to host so they get the clicks, right? And so we're gonna have that available to anyone who wants to look at the resorts from the time it started. We've got enough money raised now, we think, that we should go all the way up to 1980 in digitizing. The cost of the project is going to run us around, less than $10,000. And so far, we've raised, I think around about $7,500. So we're on our way. The other project that we're going to be working on is kind of put on the back burner, getting the digitization done, is if you've been down to Mineral Springs, it needs a little work. We've got a bid on that, and the company from Omaha has bid $20,000 to restore it. That's something that we're going to have to fundraise, or we're thinking that maybe we can kind of cut the cost a little bit as far as doing some of the work ourselves, like painting and things like that,
Do
but
you want me to,
that's,
do you want me to look for a grant?
yes.
Is it done yet?
I will.
Yeah, we're looking, I know Judy and John, I mean, we need grant.
Yeah, I helped
for
you
that.
with the.
Cause it, and Chief Blackhawk will get his bath here in a year or so. Every 5 to 6 years, we give Chief Blackhawk a bath, just to keep him up to snuff, so that any mold does not grow on him. So other than that, that's what the HPC's been doing in the last year. Those are the projects we have in mind for this year. We also look at May is Historic Preservation Month. We're working on some activities for that. We try to put something in the newspaper to highlight certain historical sites. You may have seen those. We did this scavenger, or can you name this place last year in the Lakeview Resort. Gave away prizes for that. So that's about all I can tell you about the HPC. We meet once a month and hash out those things. But the digitization of the Lakeview Resorts is our biggest thing right now. And when we get that done, the newspapers, Wall Lake Blade, the Olduvai Chronicle, the Lakeview Resort, and the Sac Sun will all be accessible in Sac County. So we think that's pretty good. It looks like did Lytton have a newspaper, or the Lytton Star or something like that, or the Lytton Crier, I don't know. That's something that's being looked at too, but we're not involved in that. So, anyway, just to give you a heads up, that's what we do. Thank you.
Hey, just-
I don't know if I'm on the same group of committees, but who handles the stone piers?
We do.
I've noticed them are getting in disrepair.
Are underwater again?
There's stones coming out, and,
Yeah, that'll be something too. We usually try to get that checked in the spring.
cause how long ago has that been done? Is that 20 years ago?
It was around 2000 when it was redone.
That was about $190,000 project.
Mhm.
But it's deteriorating on top too.
Yeah, it's getting rough shape.
Well, that'll be something else we have to look into
Maybe
again.
we can find a
Because that's on the national,
It's-
what's that?
Maybe we can find a grant or two.
She's looking at me going.
Well, we did.
She needs a pay raise, I'm just telling you.
When we, as I recall, I was just on, got appointed to the commission right as that was getting finished. And we were trying to finish up, we wrote a pretty good grant for that too. I think we got a chunk of money.
Actually,
Yeah,
I
several,
think,
yeah.
who did that,
Becky Weigel?
yeah, she
Mhm.
did it.
Becky
She-
Conard, I should say, yeah.
Yeah, she did a lot of the research on
Yeah.
that grant.
And we got a good chunk of money for that, but that was a big project.
Mhm.
And it'll be another big project.
I'm not so sure it's under the water, but.
It's kinda hard, at one time when the water was a lot clearer, we could see it, and I know we had someone do a scuba dive and check it once too, but it's been a while since we've had that done. So, that'll be something else we can talk about at the next meeting. So, I don't know if we should maybe put the mineral streams back another year or two and do the stone pier, cause,
It'll take a while to get this stone pier deal planned out, I'm sure.
yes, it took a while the last time. And it took a long time to raise the money too. So, always something to do around here. Yeah.
That's it though.
So, anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Susan.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, the dentist office has some issues they'd like us to help with.
No.
Yeah, one second.
Okay.
Jim, so they
Okay.
are seeking some additional cost for their project. Under the concept being that as part of the property swap, so the way the project worked was that, they had owned the Milton's on Main, what is now Milton's on Main, they had owned that building and were gonna look to refurbish it, and decided that they would actually then instead look to swap the city. So the city owned 408 Main, which is that old health food store building, and that they were open to the notion of swapping the Milton's building for the 408 Main site after the building had been removed. and noting that the city would provide them a buildable lot. So the city went ahead and removed that building, okay? When they did that, the foundation was only removed about 2 or 3 feet down. And especially, we knew that on the north side, that a lot of the foundation was still there because the Market Square area, when we tore that building down, 20 years ago, they filled in that entire area with sand. So they wanted to make sure that they didn't remove that entire foundation for fear that they'd lose a lot of sand out from underneath it then. So they only knocked down the foundation, 2 or 3 rows of block, and the remainder of it was there. And then the floor was still in the basement then also. We talked to Dr. Vogt to find out specifically what type of work was done, and he said that the bigger problem there was actually the foundation on the south side, that the basement wall and the foundation on the south side there, as it would have come close to abutting what's now Brotherton Chiropractic, that foundation wall was not removed also, so they had to work around that one for their entire south foundation, and that became a lot bigger issue then. See, there's some cost there for additional concrete as well as some additional labor for that. So the additional concrete ends up being that the footing's a lot wider than what they had initially planned on through there. And then the other part of the bill is for some additional plumbing, and that's to get the sewer out the back through the floor that was still in there. So the request is for $2,300 and some dollars, $2,377 for additional cost.
Well, I think we kinda owe it to them, we didn't give them a buildable lot. Tickled to have him here.
Yep, coming through with a real nice project.
I'll make a motion, we pay the $2,377.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Okay, Woltman,
Yep.
thank you.
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Okay, we've already done outlet 20 preliminary,
yes.
so we'll move on to Camp Crescent. Couple issues. Camping policy.
Yeah, let's take a look at that camping policy here first. It's included in your council memo on page 3, middle of the page, where the proposed change to this policy, which had basically been city employees could go down there and camp any day for $5 each day, with no limitations on it, on the number of days during the season, but during busy days, that they would have to pay site price. So this would change to where city employees can pay this reduced rate of $5. Whether their unit's occupied or not, before there was a provision in there, if it was unoccupied, it could sit down there and you didn't have to pay. But now, if it would be there, whether it's occupied or not, it would cost $5 per day and has a maximum of 7 days per season. Okay? The reduced rate does not apply to lakefront lots. And again, if it's busy days when the site would otherwise be rented, the employee pays site price. And the definition of employee would be proposed to remain the same.
So we're talking 7 days per season, so just 7 days for the whole summer is
Yes.
the maximum?
Yep. Yeah, so, yeah, 3 weekends. No, or- It's just not nearly as big a deal as what it used to be. There used to be some folks who camped, and anymore, there's
You and me, ain't it, Scott?
maybe me and Jeff, and I think they camped one weekend last week.
Dave?
Yeah, I camped one weekend there last year.
Again, and according to the definition, Dave, you're eligible.
Yeah.
You want a motion on that?
Yep,
We
I'll
can do
make
each
that
one,
motion to,
we can do each one of these separate then, is that the?
yeah, this is just the
Yep.
camping policy.
Mike, you move to change that policy?
Yep.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Okay, Frank.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Boltman. Moller.
Yes.
Parks and camp staffing, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit more update than anything else, because applications were due today. We got several applications for assistant manager and 3 applicants maybe for camp for the campground attendant. And I know Sandy had 1 or 2 for concession folks. We'll be scheduling interviews here over the next couple of weeks with the goal then of being able to get folks hired then at the council meeting on the 21st. You wanna talk a little bit, Sandy, about what you're looking at as far as how it would line up for labor?
So we've had a great core of support, and people that will apply and would take the job, like just one person to take care of the bump outs up here. I've had a camper, met with her yesterday. She would be thrilled to take care of the mini golf course, all the flowers, blow it off, have it ready to go by 9 o'clock. The problem I'm running into is then when you start telling them, well, we're looking for attendants to work, when you tell them $11 an hour, they're gone. And I'm afraid these applicants that we have 3, they're from out of town. I don't see them driving from Glidden, Arthur, whatever, for $11 an hour. So I think that's an issue. What I'm excited about was this morning, because we have those biocells that need a ton of attention, all the cleanup from the winter. Scott and I met with Steph Erpelding and Laura Wright this morning, and they are leaders, or I don't know what we want to call them, but Master Gardeners group, and then Steph's got the through the Iowa Extension Office people and the 4-H. We've talked to them about coming in and help. They get hours, these Master Gardeners. They have to have 40 hours to be labeled as a Master Gardener, so you don't pay them, they get credit, we are sure that they work the hours. They are willing to come in and help us clean up Main Street, clean up mini golf. We've talked to Steph about bringing the 4-H kids up and cleaning up these biocells. It's going to save a ton of labor and people that we don't even have hired yet. And it's looking a little rough hiring these people. So I'm very excited about that. That happened this morning. Is getting these guys involved to help us at least get it cleaned up, so then we can hire people just to do our maintenance on it. Concessions, I've got 1 person to come in and do the concessions. That's so I put a little thing out on Facebook on my page, and I mean, got people asking me questions that they always come back at, what does it pay? Of course, the concessions, thrilled to death, $11. That's going to be your 14-year-old or 15. It's just I can't get them to commit to the cleaning bathrooms, the stuff where you had to go out there and deal with the public, work with campers.
Isn't that what your attendants are supposed to do to those?
That's what we want. That's what I'm looking for, is the
I mean-
attendants. Yes.
What dollar amount do you think would take to get them?
I don't know what the magic number is.
You just know it's not 11.
That I know it's not 11, and I know that the bartender rate is all moving up. We just left one other meeting. They're starting them at $13 an hour, plus they get their tips. They're not, I mean, not cleaning the bathroom like we got bathroom issues. I just don't think that, like, you guys are aware, but even like the general public, how many jobs we have to do and what there is. I mean, I'm talking shelter house. We got to paint the splash pad. We got these biocells and all the plants and the beddings and the mowing and lagoons, and stuff to take care of. Mowing the lagoon.
Well, that's our job.
You're gonna
I just
mow
had a
it.
farmer
Yes.
just Sunday ask me, what do you pay a person? He's looking for some young help, pick up rocks and do odd jobs, but he says, what do you pay them? And I said, boy, I don't know anymore. It's tough.
Well, I think we should consider $13 an hour.
Yeah, that's a starting point, see what kind of response you
You know, and I'm like, I just wanted to comment on something from the last meeting, you know, like having me more at the campground. I am thrilled to be more there at the campground. It's just we have so many things to take care of in practice, and we were short staffed last year. I had to go out and do it. I couldn't be in the office all the time. I would love to have more people so we can delegate to take care of this kind of stuff. So I'm more in the office and more in the visual of the campers and being in the campground. That's the ultimate goal, but if we don't have the help, somebody's gotta go out there and do all this stuff.
So if we talk with the campground attendants and talk $13 pay rate, does that cause anybody any concern? Tell you, the other position down there than this assistant campground manager position had been at $14. So there's still, I mean, at least $1 worth of a difference there.
We'll try that when we do the interviews.
So like, is the 13, is that for the people that are out pulling the weeds, like the golf, mini golf and the bump out kind of person as well? Or are you just talking the attendance at the?
We can try the attendance, see if that helps somebody.
Like the bump out stuff, kinda Scott and I talked, you know, like $1,500 to $2,000 is probably what I see being spent for labor. Mini golf, once it's planted, it's literally, and a gal that asked and has inquired, she would like to go over there like at 7:30 and get all the stuff picked up in mini golf, get it all blown off and get it ready to go, and then just in free time come over and pull weeds and so if you do that, you guys, we don't have to pay that concessions girl to come in at 8 o'clock. Now you don't have to have a concessions there until 10 or 11.
We'll let you sort that out.
I got it.
Where are we on,
I just need the people.
on the idea of having somebody like being in charge of all the, like Eric does, because Eric wants to back up on hours, having more of a, have we given that any more thought?
As far as, having the lead guy outside, you know, what we were proposing yet for the year was to hire a third guy with Eric and Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in the ideal situation, this third guy is the guy that works into being the leadership position when.
Third guy or gal?
Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, but, so that's the original way that we were looking at that. You know, as far as trying to hire that, and still looking at that being a seasonal position. And haven't got a great response on that. We'll continue to.
Have you advertised for that?
We have, yeah,
Okay.
for both
It's on Indeed.
a seasonal parks worker, which historically has been a high school student, and then this extended season park worker for 7.5 months, and we would try to hire a third one of those.
Can I say something? If you're not, you've already advertised and you're not getting anyone, then obviously the wages aren't attracting anyone.
Well, the wages aren't in the advertising.
Well, they call and ask.
So I feel like they're advertised somewhere. I think it's on there.
We're on our Facebook post and stuff, yeah, and I think our 7.5 month parks worker, like Mark, makes $14 or $14.50.
Well, it's just like everything else. We've raised our rates for camping right now, so, you know, it's like, we need to raise our wages to get people to work, and we've gotta do it. I mean, we don't have a choice. So, I think that's kind of, be a little more aggressive and see what we get.
Mm-hmm.
What is that dollar amount?
That's,
Closer to
Well,
spring.
I think for more of a lead person, we should be looking more around 18 or, you know.
So I'll
Right.
explain kind of what I mean by lead. So you have your mini concessions person, and that's not a 14-year-old. You don't want her answering the phone and trying to work out reservation issues and being in the computer system. She's doing mini golf rentals, for reals, that end of the building over there. So we run usually 3 people a shift. There's the concessions, then what I'm calling the lead person, and then either a manager or the assistant manager is there.
Oh, we're talking about different things, and I was talking about an outside guy.
Oh, sorry. That's what I called it on my post, so lead attendant. Right?
it may evolve into that before we're done.
It might.
It could very well be.
I agree though, I think you're gonna have to pay someone to do that outside job.
That 9 months,
It's a lot more than $14,
Yeah.
I should say. I just,
And that certainly can happen, but just, yeah, know that, I mean, we'd be looking at 3 employees, then paying them higher rates than
yeah, I
2.
know,
But we gotta have them.
you gotta have them.
The place doesn't run itself.
And people are just not gonna do it for $14 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not gonna drive very far.
and going up higher.
You know, if you look at Mark and Eric's, and they're both wanting to do half the time, that's like really only paying one person. Because they're looking at 20, you know, our busy weeks when it's like celebrations and stuff, it might be 25 or whatever, but they're kinda like one employee total.
It's not what, Mark did come in and say, you know, we'd been talking about cutting back hours, and Mark says, you know, I don't really wanna cut back hours all that much. Eric certainly does. But, it doesn't end up being a full-time position anyway, because oftentimes when it rains, they
go home.
Go home. So, yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
when
if
we
we can-
interview these people, we'll see where we gotta be.
I mean, yeah, so long as I know there's a little bit of flux on the wage that we can offer people, we'll
I think we have to.
try to get
You
them.
have to a little bit.
Yep.
But today, it's a workers' herd, actually. If you want.
Okay, how about our golf carts and bikes?
Yeah,
Is that
Before
being
we-
grouped together there, the golf carts and the bikes, is that what we're
I
doing?
think before we get into too much on golf carts, just, I know Sandy had asked to change policy on about the kids riding bikes, and that we would say no bike riding from kids 12 and under after 9 o'clock. And if we could have that as a policy of the council, that'd be a great place to start.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it,
roll call.
Okay, Frank,
Yes.
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Wilton.
And now the golf carts.
Yes, so let's have that discussion. Current policy on the use of golf carts in the campground is listed there. And it just does not allow for the use of motorbikes or golf carts in the campground unless permitted by the campground manager, which just generally has not been permitted, right, Sandy?
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, motorcycles go in there. I mean, sometimes it's how they get there to camp.
Sure.
So we let a motorcycle is a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And right now, your rule is, I came to the council last year, asked about golf carts, it was voted no. I dropped it. I believe Councilman Beckman brought it back up at the last meeting.
I think we should leave it with a no.
I think if you do allow them, you just go opening up a big can of worms, you know, for
That's
Safety,
just what I was gonna say.
yeah,
your,
Them golf carts got 7 miles of lake that they can drive around. Having carts going in and out,
kids running, driving them
all the other
around.
congestion is already down there anyway, it's just,
and we can monitor it a little better on the road than we can in the campground if there is young children. And I got 2 9-year-olds that would just love to be on that golf cart.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm gonna say, and I'm not, one way or the other way, you guys decide I'm gonna go with, if the golf cart rule's in place, the golf cart rule is the same rule as being in the city. You have to have a driver's license, you can't drive it after dusk, I mean, there would be not different, only there's many people on the golf cart that the golf cart's built for. I mean, the rules would all apply, but other than, it's up to you guys. I'm here nor there.
Where would they park the
Yeah,
trailers and
that's
stuff?
Exactly, if you got golf carts, then we got more congestion, so you're gonna bring trailers.
Same.
Golf carts will stay the same way it is.
Okay,
You need a motion, I'll make it.
I'll second it if we need one.
Roll call.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Wilton.
this is yes on
Golf carts
No golf.
remain, yeah, no golf carts, policy remains the same.
Main policy is the same, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to get a golf cart rented that has a dump box on it, so.
Just a consideration I'm asking for.
So yeah, what did you had $1,500 would be what it would cost to rent a golf cart with a dump box for the season.
We currently have a golf cart,
Right.
and that's night, like, during the day, Jack has it all day, and at night, the manager, whoever has it at night, drive around making sure everything's going all right. What we run into the problem with is when we're out picking up sticks, picking up stuff, but watering the flowers all over town. We're carrying 5-gallon buckets on the golf cart and it slashes all over the place. I've called Spees. I already talked to them about rentals for the golf course out there. I said, what if the city would consider one, and it would be a brand new golf cart, and that the rent would be for the season. I kinda said Memorial Day to Labor Day, somewhere in there. They said it'd be $1,500 for the season.
So do we have a place that we would store this?
Yeah, you can sit outside.
You said you hauled 5-gallon buckets of water, and we talked about the
The pickup and the,
pickup. Well, I see that water tank is down there by the campground shed on a trailer already.
that would be awesome if that would all work out, to get to use that. Just to run down Main Street and water all the flowers and do everything. Yeah.
You know, either leave it
The
on
why-
the
I think
trailer
the
and
why-
pull it.
I don't know if it's on that trailer just for storing it, so it's off the ground, but most of the time last year it was on the back of the little white pickup. Cause that's what the guys take when we do all our tree planting.
Well, I don't know why we can't put it back there and utilize that instead of a golf cart.
Great.
But you need this extra golf cart to haul garbage.
It'd be just
crap.
nice to have one more vehicle, like, I drove my vehicle all year,
Right.
cause there's just nothing down there for me to take.
Well, I'd entertain a motion to get that extra golf cart for her.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Okay, Muller,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Holton. Frank,
No,
Is that all the golf course for the campground we need?
there's one, I do wanna bring this up as an issue for Sandy. Sandy, related to her business, has been talking about renting golf carts or some type of a vehicle out of there, right?
Yeah, I asked Scott this weekend, it didn't make the agenda, but, we're considering expanding the rental business, and doing, electric bikes. And one of the biggest requests we had last year is, would we rent out golf carts, or do we have golf carts to rent out? We're looking at the cost, we're looking at the insurance, to cover everybody, and Scott thought maybe it should be a good idea if I bring it up and ask you guys your thoughts on us having one, maybe, probably not 2 golf carts. Depending
Just
on the
from a,
cost, cause we
yeah.
have to run auto insurance on them.
From a process standpoint from the city, you know, she has this lease agreement, and it's stipulated in the lease agreement about the type of uses that it would have. It didn't say anything about motorized vehicles or anything. I would think it would be appropriate to amend the lease if that were to happen.
But there is a demand for it.
There's a demand. I just gotta figure out all my costs, whether it be 1 or 2.
As long as you're doing all the work, I don't know why we would.
Then would you just keep it down there along with?
We don't leave our stuff there overnight.
Yeah.
We bring, everything comes out of the water, everything gets bedrocked up to our storage sheds or my house.
So, Dave, when you think about that, as far as now having motorized vehicles or anything, do you see any different liability type of things for the
Yes.
city?
But is it the business that's leasing out the golf carts and not the city, or?
Correct, yeah. It's be a
It's the
private
business.
It's just, we leased the site to Sandy for her
That would
business.
be okay that way. I mean, the city wouldn't be exposed to any extra liability based on that as a landlord.
And we do offer you guys a certificate of insurance, we got $1 million, it's up in our permit, we, all that's still in line with our insurance company.
We have to have a motion to amend the contract.
Yeah, but would you
You'd
have
have
that
to
as a
have ones with
separate,
the, you know, street,
agenda
the
item next
lights
time?
and whatnot.
Every little bell and whistle's on there. Yeah, it's got like the front seat and the back seat part. And it's a whole different rental agreement, in fact, it's separate from like the water sports ones. And we want the policy, you have to be 18 to drive them, or to rent it, and that's 16. Ours is 18, and only the number of people that the golf cart is built can be on it. We're still on the gray area, working with the insurance company about how small the kids.
Well, I was wondering about that, you know, if their seat belts.
There are no seatbelts on golf carts.
Oh,
Yeah.
mine's got seat belts.
Does it?
Yep.
These ones, nothing, none of them have the seatbelts.
I mean, as
It's
far
part of our
as
questionnaire
safety
part.
deal.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have to put it on the agenda for next time as an agenda item.
Okay.
Is that all the campground stuff we can get through
It's good.
for now?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
need some people.
Citywide cleanup. Just like we've done in the past.
Yeah, I guess that's a question for you. Yeah, would you like to do citywide cleanup again, and then B, would we just run it as we have in the past? So, page 12 was the application that we've used for several years. And people understand it now that, you know, they gotta come pay $10 to participate and fill out the form, so they're gonna sign that they're going to follow the rules associated with it. And then we would utilize appliance stickers. Again, appliance stickers would cost $20, and for all of those items that are listed down there. It gets a little confusing, like that you need a computer sticker to throw away a computer monitor, but you don't need a computer sticker to throw away a computer. It's just some fine lines on that we just explained to the public. But if folks are on board with doing that, RUD is available to do this on Monday and Tuesday, May 9th and 10th.
Second?
Roll call.
Okay, Walton,
Yep.
thank you.
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Administrator report?
Yes, just at your seat tonight, you would have seen this packet of what is interview questions for police chief. And I do want everybody to review those and let me know if there's anything that you would like to have added for this. Those interviews for police chief are Wednesday evening. They start at 6. So we had one scheduled for later on and moved that guy to the front. Okay, so we'll start at 6 o'clock, just like we had planned. Okay? Sac County League is on Thursday over in Odebo. The program is on nuisance abatement.
Oh, my favorite. I'll be there.
Are you the guest speaker for it?
No, not yet.
I do need to RSVP who might be able to go Thursday night over to Odebo. Mike?
I'll go.
Whitey?
I'm gonna plan on it,
Good, okay.
unless the snowstorm hits, then I'm staying home.
Oh,
I'm going
No.
for real.
What?
now you're jinxing it.
Well, they're talking snow, I'm just saying, it might be March, but we can still get snow.
This is my favorite number, 657.
All right, save Carroll County.
And my note to you is that I'll be going to the Municipal Management Institute next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, starts next Wednesday. Then I'll be back for a couple days of work and then planning on going on vacation.
That's it?
That's it.
Motion to adjourn,
So move.
second? Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Right?